Remember when I said in my last video that OAN and Newsmax are just as bad? Well, here are the other two stations that are just as bad. OAN and Newsmax. These two are are carbon copies of Fox News, Newsmax, and OAN. These two are responsible. These two are just as much as responsible for causing a lot of carnage that have been going on for the past few weeks. Um, and remember when I said Fox News, Newsmax, and OAN need to be dropped from all cable and satellite providers? Well, these these two stations, OAN and Newsmax, need to be dropped from all cable and satellite providers, because they don't do nothing but spread conspiracy theories, misinformation, propaganda, and all this other foolishness. And like I said, OAN and Newsmax, they're just as bad as Fox News, or should I say, they're nothing more than carbon copies of Fox News. Um, I mean, these two are not news stations at all. OAN and Newsmax are not news stations at all. OAN and Newsmax are propaganda stations. They're not news. They're not real news. They're propaganda propaganda stations, just like they're propaganda stations, just like Fox News. Um, so yeah, OAN and Newsmax are nothing more than carbon copies of Fox News, and they spread the same kind of misinformation as they said. I mean, they spread the same kind of propaganda as Fox News, and these two stations also um, need to be dropped from all cable and satellite providers, because they are responsible for most of the chaos that have been going on in this country. And like I said in my other video, Newsmax and OAN and Fox News all need to be held accountable. Um, and like I said before, OAN and Newsmax are not news stations at all. They're full of they're or should I say they're both propaganda stations. So so OAN and Newsmax need to be held accountable for all the chaos that have been going on in this country as of late. And Fox News should also be held accountable, especially people like Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, Bill O'Reilly, Laura Ingraham, and all the rest of them at Fox News need to be held accountable, including the owner of Fox News, including the owner of Fox News, Rupert Murdoch. He needs to be held accountable as well. Um, and Rudy Giuliani included. And as I said, OAN, Newsmax, and Fox News are responsible for most of the chaos that have been going on in this country. Cause these two news stations don't do anything but spread propaganda, misinformation, and all this other foolishness. And they're the ones responsible for telling people to take ivermectin for to take ivermectin, the animal dewormer, to cure COVID. How is ivermectin gonna cure COVID? Really? Ivermectin is an animal dewormer. It's not meant for it's not meant for human consumption. And the other thing they've been telling people is to take hydrochloric hydrochloric whatever that thing's called, that to cure COVID. Now that is stupid. That is stupid. Plain stupid. But yeah, OAN and Newsmax are just carbon copies of Fox News. For in other words, it's just stations for ignorant and dumb people. And yes, I said, OAN and Newsmax are just stations for dumb people. Dumb people will listen to anything OAN, Newsmax, and Fox News tells them. But like I said, OAN and Newsmax are just carbon copies of Fox News. They spread lies. They spread disinformation, or should I say misinformation. They spread propaganda about people and stuff like that. And these two news stations are just as bad as Fox News. These two are just as bad as Fox. These two are just as bad as Fox News, Newsmax, and OAN. They're just as bad as Fox News. In other words, they're carbon copies of Fox News, and these two stations need to be dropped from all cable and satellite providers.